Mic check, waifu, waifu.
Mic check, waifu, King, Teliano. Is that you?
We live.
This is episode 260 of Mic check, waifu. As always, brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/mic check, waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. This is where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Story. It's where you can get access to Take Talks, Mic check mangas, etc., etc. Today is 260. It's our live episode. But before we can get to that, I'd like to thank our Patreon community. Shout out to the best Patreon community on the internet. Without you, we couldn't do the show. We love you. Thank you so much. Shout out to the producers, Christian, the archivist. There you go. I see you in the chat. Rob from Dad Needs to Talk Podcast. Fear. J. Lee Trey from Show Go High, Ked the Pro from Chaotic Culture and Show Go High, Explicitly, All for One Matt Mazer, Altor, Monique Williams, Nachi, Simi Sensei, Frozen, our guy Rob Stone, and last but certainly not least, T Money Fingers. Now, welcome to Mic Check Waifu. This is the anime podcast. It's brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Every end of the month, we do a live episode. Last month, we missed last month, but this month, we're back with episode 260, and it is the spring wrap-up. I want to give a special shout-out to everybody that's in the chat right now. Hello, TCB, our guy TCB. Love you, bro. Thank you so much for stopping by. Steve, what's up, Steve? He said music was hidden. Okay. Let's go. So before we get into that, Tel, I gotta ask, how you feeling, brother?
It's a great week. It's been extremely hot, and I love hot. So it has literally been one of my favorite weeks. I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been chilling. It's been home improvement week in a sense.
Interesting.
Putting furniture together, that kind of stuff. But we chilling. We good over here. How you feeling, Polo?
Fantastic. Oh, and that's Monty. Monty, you gotta change your YouTube name, brother. Shout out to Monty Purpose, my guy. But I'm good, man. I'm living a dream. The a lot of games coming out this month, or the month of July. So say, hey, Crystal, good to see you. Yeah, a lot of games coming out. So I've been trying to get into Final Fantasy 14 since that new expansion came out, but we got Once Human coming out in a few days. We got First Descendant coming out in a couple days. There's a lot of stuff I'm into on the game side of things, but mostly anime-wise, bro. A lot of great stuff happening in the anime space for sure.
Yeah, a lot of endings too.
A lot of endings to some things. A lot of news. Hey, Saber. A lot of news. A lot of good stuff, man. I'm looking forward to this conversation today, especially since we're wrapping up the season and we're talking about the most underrated anime of 2024 so far. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, my goodness.
As we start every episode, yes, award-winning Final Fantasy 14, yes. It's okay. As we start off every episode, Tel, what was your episode of the week this week? Talk about a heat week.
Yeah, bad. Struggling.
Out everybody.
I am going to not go with the obvious, and I'm going to say Oblivion Battery.
Gross. And I'm going to go with the obvious, Demon Slayer. No questions. No question is Demon Slayer for me. I'm going to say this, and this might be controversial. Let me check, make sure I got Twitter opened up just in case somebody got something to say there. But this might be controversial, but I will say that Demon Slayer had one of the best episodes of any anime of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm I'm not arguing with you. I'm not arguing with you.
I'm like no exaggeration, of all time, like the best directed episode, sound
Best visually,
wise, best
everything.
visually. Even what the moment to moment what happened with characters in it, it was flawed. It was a perfect episode of any anime. Just this episode. I'm not saying the series in its entirety, but just this episode alone was
I ain't
clearly.
arguing with you, but I feel like that was obvious. So I'm gonna let Demon Slayer rock. I mean, we also could have gone with Jobs Reincarnation because I feel like that was another phenomenal episode as well. But Oblivion Battery, I feel like it's one that's just going under the radar. And this most recent episode, without the baseball, even just fire. It was good.
Interesting. Oblivion Battery. I said gross. I did say gross, Christian. But listen, it's something about baseball, especially baseball anime, that I just can't. I say this last week. I say this multiple weeks. I just can't give a fuck. I just can't give I can't care. I can't. But yeah, I'm blown back by this week. This week was probably one of the better weeks of this season, even though most of the stuff ended. Like Kaiju number 8 was great. I love the way that ended. I love the way Demon Slayer ended, obviously. TCB says a sneak peek for the movies that are coming. I can't fucking wait. We're going to talk about that. We definitely going to talk about that. But starting off the spring wrap-up season, Tell, if you don't mind, I would like to go first.
Yes, okay, let's do it.
Now, there's a show. I'm going to see. Do I have Anilist as a... I do. I'm going to start with this show right here. Duke of Death in this May season 3. Mm-hmm. I didn't finish it completely. I still have 2 episodes left, only because this is one of the shows I absolutely love watching dub. Like, this is one of my favorite dubbed romance anime. But this show, and if like, there's no way it can just turn out completely trash for the last 2 episodes. So I'm not worried about that. But Duke of Death in this May season 3 in its entirety. If it's gonna wrap up how I think it's gonna wrap up, this might be the best. Almost supernatural, fantastical. What the fuck is that? Supernatural, fantastical romance series in a nice tight package of 3 seasons, about 12, 13 episodes each. This show is fantastic. It's one of my favorite romances. I always talk about it. I love the way it looks. I love its CGI and its painting aesthetic. This show is literally one of my favorite romances of all time. This fell in my top, I'm going to say it, top 5. With this season 3. This season 3 has been fantastic. And it's like, it's so, what's the word? I guess cliche in a sense. Mm-hmm. It's very cliche, but in the most unique way. Duke of Death in this May. Monty, if you're still here, maybe check this out with your lady. I think she would enjoy this. But this is a great series. I think it's going to wrap up nicely. I'm not worried about it failing the last 2 episodes and I'm waiting to be dubbed, but
Right.
I'm not too worried about it. I think it's going to be great. I say that for sure. I know you didn't watch this, Tell, but I wish you would.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I do think that it's very interesting that you bring it up with, you said you're not worried about how it's going to close with the last 2 episodes. I want to talk about something that I hated the way it ended. Unnamed Memory, bro.
Interesting. Interesting.
I felt like I didn't necessarily predict the ending. I'm not gonna say it was predictable because I didn't predict it. Right?
No. I'm not gonna say I can't even pretend like it was predictable.
But I hated everything before. It was like, because I feel like for this anime, Unnamed Memory, we were definitely pretty hyped for it in the beginning. We were hyped for Unnamed Memory in the beginning.
It was great at first.
What happened? we know what happened. You know what I mean? We know what happened, but what happened? What happened?
Dropping that from my list. So listen. Okay, and this is just hear me out first. It started off great. Got bad in the 4th episode. Now, I did a little bit of digging, and most of my digging came from just Anilist, as y'all can see on the screen here. Most of my digging came from Anilist in the forums. People are pissed off because of the omissions that happen within this show. They omitted so much within like character development pieces and time skips that just felt off. And it seemed like it was mostly because of the studio undertaking a little bit too much which, if I'm not mistaken, this studio is Engi. Yeah, and they haven't done much of anything. However, Unnamed Memory is confirmed for season 2, and from the looks of the forums, I'm just speaking from the forums, it seems like it's going to get better.
I hope so, because it's already stressing me out with how bad it was. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna say it was the worst, right? Because I definitely think we've watched worse things.
Yeah.
But for what it was giving us, I feel like it was giving us the right story beats, the right kind of pacing, everything. It didn't even have to be
Like
super
4
action
episodes.
oriented, but the action was pretty solid. And then, yeah, I'm gonna say past 4. I'm gonna say once it hit that middle, like the 6th episode, and they
That's true.
introduced that counter antithesis guy. As soon as they introduced him, I was like, what is this show even? And it hasn't really struck a good chord with me since. So yeah, I'm happy it's over. I'm not sure about season 2. I ain't gonna lie. I want to watch it, but I'm not sure, bro.
Crystal says Unnamed Memory pissed me off. It's because it literally erased everything that was built. Like it's all gone. Like everything that happened in the entire season is just gone.
Yeah.
Slight spoilers, I guess, but it's bananas. It's bananas. TK does nothing here. What's up, TK? She says, I don't want to watch season 2. Let me watch season 2 for you, and I'll let you know if you should come back. And I won't steer you wrong. I'll try my best to be as objective as possible, but I heard it gets crazy. Okay.
What's up, TK does nothing?
Let's see here. Where do I want to go next? There's a lot of stuff I didn't finish.
You did finish Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy season 2.
Well, that was last season, but
technically, yeah.
But I will say that ending was amazing. Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy is just great.
And they give us a next season preview, kinda. Yeah. Hey, hear me out, bro. He's mad OP.
And it's just gonna get even more OP from the looks of it, anyway.
And then did you finish Newgate?
I did finish Newgate.
Now, I know Newgate was not on everybody's radar, but I did not hate that at all. I actually thought it was a pretty, just like turn it on and sit down and enjoy it. I'm not saying it was good by any stretch of the imagination, but I ain't hate nothing about it. I just turned it on and I was just sitting there watching it.
So a Newgate, you can tell it took like $2 to make. Okay. It was very, very low budget. Terrible animations. Very inconsistent animations too. But the story, I really did enjoy this story. And now it is a Polo and Tail Last anime, as we always say. Polo and Tail Last anime are shows that we cannot recommend and won't recommend to everybody, but it shows that we enjoy personally. But like the new game, I like this shit a lot. I don't know why, but I liked it a lot. Like as much as I love those other ones, we love to discuss.
The little $2 holla anime.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing over the chat real quick. Christian the Archivist says Tsukimichi hit everything right. That's a fact. TCB says, can we talk about Girl Band's Cry, a literal overlooked gem, one of the best overall shows this spring.
So, and I know you haven't been watching it unless you picked it up. I am 2 episodes behind. I do have to finish it, so I'm sorry, TCB, but it is a really good one in my opinion. It's funny because it's very reminiscent of Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, but I feel like it's definitely a bit more mature. So I would definitely say it's worth watching. I would have to say though, I don't think Polo's gonna like it if I'm being real.
Yeah, idol shows just ain't for me. But shout out to TK Does Nothing. He says I can't wait for the next season of Moonlit Fantasy. Neither can I. That's gonna be so much fun. But to go to something that's closely idol related, I guess, let's talk about Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night. This, bruh, when we get into the underrated shows portion of this, spoiler, this is going to be on that list.
Okay. I can see that now.
Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night has everything I hate in an anime, but I loved every bit of this anime. Like it has idols, It has it's a shoujo ass show. It's not for me, but this shit was fantastic.
But it is for you. But
step of the way.
yeah, it's a very artistically driven show, and that's why I say it's for you. Like it's like Blue Period, right? Blue Period is a very aesthetic and artistically driven show. So we both fell in love with Blue Period,
I love Blue Period
very easily. So Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, to me, it is the audio, like how it sounds. Like even and I hate to like slight spoiler when the girl who can't sing was singing. To me, I was like, it makes so much sense, and it sounds exactly what I feel like I needed to sound like. I feel like they hit every tone that you would want as someone who's watching this. Like, if it's supposed to sound bad, it sounds bad. If it's supposed to sound good, it sounds good. If it's supposed to look good, it looks good. And there's so much of it. Like, and then you even have the coming of age kind of story where they're developing into who they want to be and finding out their own ambitions and things like that. The show, I think what makes the show good is that even if you had taken like, let's say, for instance, this is not your type, like you don't want to watch the girls do this, you could switch these characters out with just about anybody and the story would still kind of feel like there's so much driving it in terms of development. So I think that's what makes Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night so good. For me, it was
the character, each character in their individual growths and the way they interwove it within the overarching story as Jelly itself. Like, it was so perfect. You know how many fucking thug tears I shed during this? For those of you unaware, thug tears were that time where you're watching the show and sometimes you're like, damn, why's my eyes watering? Oh, fuck. It was so much of that during Jellyfish Can't Swim for me personally. Like, some ending episodes, we had great conversations in a Discord with like, CCB was a part of them. Like, so many great back and forths within the Discord forums of how fucking fantastic this show was. Like, it truly was a one of the most special shows I think this season. Again, spoilers for the most underrated anime of 2024. This is definitely going to be on this list. Crystal says Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night was so well done. I love a coming of age shows like this. Yeah, coming of age is what is the other thing that I just don't enjoy. Like, I just don't, most of the time from my past anime viewings, I did not enjoy the coming of age stories. But to be fair, man, so the most recent ones I've been watching lately, like the one T Money Fingers, one of our producers, had us watching and we reviewed. I forget the name of it. What is that one called?
Which one?
Journey to the something. Oh,
Journey to the End of the World.
No, that's we're gonna talk about that next. It's the Crystal. Let me know, because you always yelling at us when we get a place further in the universe.
Yeah, place further in the universe. That's what we think about. The same thing. We're thinking about Train to the End of the World.
Yeah. So we kind of mixing them together. But again, a place further in the universe. That is another perfect story. Like, it's so good. TCB says Jellyfish and Girls Bands Cry are both similar, but they took two different approaches to this coming of age, building a band vibe, and they have their own positive qualities to them. Yeah, I can't stress enough how good Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night is. Like, or in the night, I should say. I keep saying at night, but it's in the night. Clearly.
And I think what makes that coming of age story so important, though, is specifically the fact that it is about the realism in how they come to the age. You know what I mean? Like, the routes they took in this, and I would even say in Girls Band Cry, the route that was taken there, it feels extremely realistic. Like, if I'm going to do this, like in Girls Band Cry, it's more about like, if I'm going to do this alone, but I want to build a group still, how am I going to do this? Okay. Or Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, it was about the group in its totality, right? Yeah. But them kind of building their individual, likenesses and selves, and, coming through their own problems and everything like that. And then they come together to form this group. So, yeah, I think that it is about how you attack that coming of age story, because I agree. I also hate coming of age stories, and that's kind of what Boruto feels like. Yes. And that's kind of why I hate Boruto. Yeah, so I think that both of those shows actually shows that do it well.
Yeah, so the archivist says Mazer just shared Jobless season 3 just got announced. Yeah, we knew that. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. TCB says my only criticism with Jellyfish is maybe they have they have us one more episode before the final to flesh things out a bit better. I don't know if they needed it or gave one more episode. I don't think they needed TCB. I thought it was neat, right? Like what could have been fleshed out more in your opinion, till if there could have been one?
Yeah, I do definitely want to hear what you would add, because I feel like anything more would have just been poorly paced. And I don't want to say like I don't want to say your opinion is wrong, but I do think that if you add too much to how this story is put together, it takes away some of the conciseness. You know what I mean? Like they hit their points when they were supposed to hit them, and then they came together. It's like almost like baking. You got to put the right ingredients in to get exactly what you want.
Hey, another producer and cohorts in this podcasting space, our guy Mazer. What's up, bro? He says, sorry for being late. Just caught up on Demon Slayer. And then TCB says, I'll give the edge to Girl Bands Cry, a bit of an edge over Jellyfish. That's crazy. For the great CGI animation and music hitting harder for my taste. Oh, okay. So the music part being less, in Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night is why I like this so much. So if you enjoy the music aspects of the idol stuff, then I can understand where TCB is coming from. Boruto need a reboot, Christian says. Yeah.
He watched 26 episodes of that BS.
Yeah. Dude, I watched so much, too much.
I'm telling you, like 60, and I was like, you know what?
I'm 140 something deep. Yeah, Mazer says, Windbreaker ending how it has had me a bit heated, the cliffhanger. And then he says Kaiju was a solid last episode. We're going to get to that a little bit later too, but let's go into one of the best shows this season, Windbreaker. So as an announcement, I'm going to just announce now, next week, we'll be doing our Mic Check Waifu review. There is, in the forums, there is a review channel. I'm going to go ahead and pin that in our Discord forums if I can while I'm recording. That should be no problem. We're going to review Windbreaker next week. So if y'all can for us, everybody that's watched Windbreaker, use our review scale and drop a review of it in the Windbreaker channel, because you can like screenshot it. I'll pin it all here in a second, but I would love to see what everybody thinks of Windbreaker as far as like their review goes. And we're going to share it next week. So please, if y'all can, I'm about to pin it to the forum Discord, in the forum Discord right now. Yeah, it's a Mic Check Waifu scale for your use. I'm about to pin this so it's at the top of the forums, because I would love to see everybody's review of Windbreaker with using our review scale, and it's gonna be freaking dope. Now let's go to one of our sleepers, and that's Bartender. Bartender wrapped up for me in probably the most serene, chill, best way possible. This is one of the best one and done anime I've watched in a very long time. Like truly a special case. Like Bartender, I think the thing with Bartender is that it won't get it won't have a big conversation. Like not a lot of people is going to talk about Bartender as much as they should. But this show, Bartender, Glass of God, was so chill. If you had a stressful day, if you enjoy a nice cocktail every once in a while, Bartender is such a chill, just great show, great stories, great cast of characters, very smooth, as smooth as an old fashioned.
And I swear, I don't even drink anymore. But it made me want an old fashioned a couple times.
Man,
hear me out. So I actually think that Glass of God is a show that I would definitely turn on again. And literally just to have it in the background. Like, if I owned a bar, I feel like that's a show I would have on TV in the bar or something. Just check this out, because it feels like they set a precedent in my mind for what I should be experiencing if I was at like a high quality or high end bar. And man, it was actually like how I talked about how Saint's magic power is omnipotent, how sometimes you turn it on, it's just peaceful. Almost like you said, serene, the serenity in that show, the way it ended, even when they had like, you know, previously with the old sensei and stuff like that, like the way that this show kind of just intertwines the story, but there's so much like it's the drink of the week or the customer of the week, but still weaving in the story and not forgetting where they're trying to go or what they're trying to do, and then they get to the end and they accomplish this thing, they worked through it. I don't know anybody in this show, if I'm being completely honest, other than the main character. But
that's crazy.
I really, really just enjoy sitting down and watching this show, bro. Because it was like, for me, it was like, I legit only care about what's happening with our main character. But it was just like, there's so much how the entirety of the show, and I hate this. I know that sounds crazy the way I'm saying it, but it felt like nothing really mattered, but it was, you're watching this story unfold in a sense. So like, even if I knew nothing about the characters other than what they're presenting to me, I felt attached to just how it was going, but I also felt calm enough to just watch and just chill. I didn't have too much judgment for it to like say that there was, it gave me everything I needed to be calm, so I didn't have much judgment for it. To me, it felt like it was perfection in what it was trying to be. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like, it was perfect for what it was trying to be.
I agree. And I think Mazer got it right. He says bartender is the new pick of slice of life. If you go into it not realizing that it's a slice of life. So it's nothing going to be stand outish whatsoever within the show. Like, no major dramas, and even less so than normal slice of life. The drama was so minimal. Like, it was very, very minimal, but the way it perfected the conversation pieces. Now, I will say this, and I said this at the very beginning of the show. They got Wimby levels of reaches when it comes to making these drinks and how impactful they are. they be reaching like a motherfucker. I swear they wingspan about 10 feet. But the stories that it told with these drinks even with the over dramatization of the story behind every drink, I still find it to be so soothing and chill and serene. I'm with Christian here. He says I'm too far behind because I'm waiting on the dub. I wish I would have watched this dub too, because I got a feeling sitting back and relaxing and enjoying this, like just watching it, just chilling, would have been a better experience if the dub is obviously good. All right, I'm gonna take a quick stop. I gotta go through this chat because the chat has been popping off. So
I see it.
I'm gonna go up to we're going back to the Boruto conversation. This is a little bit further back, so forgive me, but Christian the Archivist says Boruto fatal flaw is being the main character. It should have been his little sister, essentially.
Mawari, facts.
TK does nothing, spitting the biggest fact of all time. If you feel like you wasted time, imagine how I feel. But he says Boruto for real wasting my damn time. I watched 26 episodes of that BS, bro. 140 for me. The one thing about me is when I'm going to talk bad about an anime, I am going to give it the most fair shake. We talked about this last week with Black Clover. I gave it 130 episodes of that.
Fairy Tail, I
gave 150 episodes of Fairy Tail.
90 episodes of Fairy Tail.
Yeah, Boruto 140. Like, I'm gonna give these tries.
Yeah, I gave Boruto 60 episodes,
which is a lot for Tail. I'm gonna just say that now.
I hated that show.
But we love Naruto. That's the crazy. I mean, that's probably why we were so lenient, because we love Naruto so much. But Mazer says Boruto fatal flaw was nerfing Naruto characters too much. Facts. I mean, they had to though, because what else? Like, everything else would be. Yeah, everything else would be nothing. Hey, our producer it's so good to see Nachi. What's up, Nachi? Boruto is not as bad, but the fillers make it unwatchable. Nah, dog. I did the filler skip and everything, Nachi. It just wasn't good. I can't say that. Better if I posted my thoughts about it in the Discord. Please do, TCB. We would love that. You know, we check it out. Well, I do anyway. Tell treats Discord like a unwanted stepchild. But
I treat the internet like I unwanted stuff.
You really do. Tell just never on the internet. Mazer says I'm absolutely looking into to those review skills. Yeah, please check them out. We'll love to see you use it for Windbreaker. Crystal says Windbreaker exceeded all my expectations. I love it, dude. If you go back to our spring preview live episode and we looked at Windbreaker, we was ready to write it off, and our change is insane.
Yeah,
what a switch up. He was talking about Windbreaker when he was talking about he's too far behind on the dub because he's waiting for the dub. Christian was talking about the Windbreaker. Forgive me. Monty says old fashioned is my shit. I might gotta peep. Definitely. Did you ever check out Windbreaker, Monty? Let me know. Mazer says Bart. Okay, I already read that. Guy says I ain't watching no burrito. You better than me, they say. Boruto is mostly filler since the manga is released monthly. Oh, and the anime is weekly. That I believe. But I even use the skip filler list and it's still terrible.
That's a bar right there.
For sure. TK says, whenever an anime has 100+ episodes in the first season, I just can't help but to think it's trash. Man, that's not true. Original Naruto was great. One Piece is fantastic.
Naruto had 100 episodes in the first season?
I think so.
Man, hold on, research.
Yeah, maybe double check that. Okay, let's go to my sleeper.
2002.
A Condition Called Love.
God dang.
A Condition Called Love is a slice of life that I would never recommend to everybody because of it's different. But we talked about this, and shout out to Crystal again for on the forums dropping that post she dropped, because what she felt is exactly the same way I felt. But with A Condition Called Love, this is one of the most hated slices of life I've seen in a very long time. It has an average score of 65 on Anilist.
I think that's a bit wild.
It's wild, but it's also reasonable if you look at it from the perspective of the way that people are looking at it, right? They're looking at it because it's a shoujo with a main character that is not Prince Charming, that's not absolutely perfect, that not flawless in every aspect of the way, and he's super romantical and fucking and just the perfect man's. It's not. He's not. He's actually terrible. Funny enough.
Yeah. The issue that I would present for this, right, is that if you switch the roles, like I said, for the show, I would still hate the show. And I know I said this already, that I don't like A Condition Called Love. I hate the show. But I think that the score is trash. I don't think that the score is right. Because I do think that it's written in a sense or in this way to make it purposefully like this. So I think that means it's written well. So I guess it's because of my ability or my attempt to stay objective that I think that it's definitely better than what the score is getting.
So the way, and again, if y'all haven't heard the episode where we talk about this in our spoiler half of the show, that shit was it was a fantastic conversation, like a great conversation, because it involved with the fact that, like, I love the show for the same reason why I hate the show, right? Mm-hmm. So we feel the same about the show, but it's from way two different perspectives, and like it's like beyond comprehensible on how we feel about this, because I love the show for the simple fact is doesn't have a perfect main character. It doesn't have a perfect main male character. It doesn't have even a story where you could be like, oh, I'm rooting for them. Even sometimes you hate them, both of them in some cases, but mostly the dude. Like, there is so many pieces of this show that just, it gets you twisted in a way where you're like, man, fuck this dude, or like, fuck this shit, in a way that's annoying, and you're emotionally invested. And that's why I say I love this show so much, because if your characters, and I always talk about this being the most important piece about an anime, I don't give a fuck about shit else. Your world can be fantastic, but if your characters suck, I'm not going to like your show. The characters in the show are so good, and not good in the sense of morality, right? Like, they're not morally, the dude character is not good at all. But I love the fact that these characters are so unique to its story that I love the fact that I hate them. I love the fact that I'm rooting for this innocent girl who's an idiot a lot of the times, but who's an idiot for really reasonable reasons. Like, there's so much feeling and emotion that goes on with this show that is, and it's the reason why I love the show, because it invokes these emotions. I'm sound like a broken record here for those who've listened to 260 episodes, but I go back to the time where I watched Clannad, my very first slice of life anime. The reason why I am a slice of life main now is because if you can invoke an emotional reaction out of me watching a TV show, I'm set. Like, I'm gonna love it, whether or not if I love it or hate it. But A Condition Called Love is probably my least favorite sleeper that I've ever picked in our career of doing this.
I mean, I don't even think it's like, I would say it's probably my least favorite of your sleepers as well, but I don't think it's the worst.
That's not what I said.
No, I understand. I'm just saying I don't think it's the worst.
It's not a bad show to me.
It's just, and I hated the ending too. But
same.
I don't think it's the worst. I definitely think that, and the thing is that I'm open now after watching the ending though to a season 2.
I'm okay. I'm
open to a season 2 only for the fact that, because like so what Crystal said, right, that the final episode kind of actually puts in perspective why he's acting the way he has to a degree.
Too little, too late, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I still think he's a little bit too much still. But I get it to a degree, because that's what she said, to a degree. But I'd be open to a season 2 to watch him develop, because I do think that the premise of the show, and this is, I know this might not necessarily be it, but I think that part of the premise of the show, or the goal of the show, is to say that love can build people in a sense.
Yeah. So
if love is building them up, then yeah.
Let me touch on something that the archivist just said. He says it sounds like it should have been a josei, which is a josei is older female characters, older characters in general. No, absolutely not. The reason why it shouldn't have been a josei, because if you got older characters acting the way these two knuckleheads are, then it would have been a terrible show. It wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been as believable, right? These are middle schoolers, so like. In middle school, I can understand the complexity within these characters. You know what I'm saying? Like it's they're immature. They're very immature, both of them, in a sense. Like when you got one where he loves too hard and he thinks that nobody else is supposed to love you as much as I do, or they're in the way, or there's no need for friends because all of my energy gets spent on loving a particular person. And then it's mostly evolving around his abandonment issues, and he's a great guy to her, but it's like a facade essentially, which we all know everybody hates.
It feels like a facade, you know what I mean? But I feel like I'm thinking of a more psychological aspect of it. It's like a protection mechanism, you know what I mean? He's trying to protect himself, so it's defense mechanism. He's like, I gotta do this before things get bad, right? Because he already has a distrust of people. I feel like this is basically a review, a breakdown. And this is, like I said, that just goes to the point that I said, like, while I hate the show, it's so good because there's so much to talk about. Yeah. You know what I mean? It has to be good for you to want to talk about it like this.
You could dive deep into it on accident, like we just did there. Mazer says, when we deep dive into character development about this season, it's such a bag. Spring was a golden season for so many reasons, and having great character is one of them. I couldn't agree more. Guy says, I feel that her naivete would be very annoying if she was 26, and that is exactly my point. If she was older, I would have turned this shit off a long time.
Why are you dealing with, bro?
Why are you? Hello, can't you see that this is clearly strange? And if he's like that at 26, then we really got a problem. You know?
Also, the archivist said that if you say Clinad, we gotta take a shot.
Yep, I saw that. I chuckled at that. I could talk about Clinad every live episode. I think I do every live episode. I gotta bring up Clinad at least once. Yeah, you should pick it up, Christian. I think you might actually like it. Crystal also says, if this gets a season 2 before Sign of Affection, I will riot. I couldn't agree more.
And I agree with that too, because the Sign of Affection was
brilliant.
I was literally just looking at that too. I was like, man,
Monty
Sign of Affection was crazy.
Monty Lady gave it. What she gave it, Monty? I forgot what she gave it, but it's a decent show. Mazer says, I'm waiting on Ice Guy, and the cool female colleague to get another season, but I don't know if it would happen. You know, it doesn't need one, but I am with you. Because I enjoyed that show so much. It was such a pleasant watch that I would love to see more of it. Like, just that simple. All right. Let's move on to uh a train. What was it called? Journey to the end of the world.
A train to the end of the world.
What did y'all think of a train to the end of the world?
All right, so my point of view first. I'm not taking it serious, but I did enjoy it. And I know I said this before, but I love the continuity that they kept and had from the beginning all the way to the end of the show. That they kept the ridiculousness up 100%, but they connected the ridiculousness. And even when we get to the end, you know what I mean, where they kind of have a resolution, so to speak, it's still a little ridiculous. And it's like okay because it's part of the continuity of the show. So yeah, 100%. I think that I think it's enjoyable. Do I think it's something that I would recommend to people? Probably not. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably not gonna recommend it to nobody, but I definitely think it's good.
It started off extremely peculiar and unique and fun and enjoyable. But by the third episode, I had it predicted to the T. Like you can go back, Christian the Archivist could go back and tell you the exact time, the moment I predicted that it was going to be exactly what the story ended up being, and that's what the 7G incident actually was. Like it was so predictable from the beginning.
And Japan's also developing 6G.
But I will say, I liked it, man. I liked it. I liked every bit of it. As wild as it wasn't. I wish it would have. And it's maybe I got a sick kink or something like that. I wish it was darker. I wish it was more. Oh God, I can't believe I'm about to bring up this show we hate so much that people love so much. So again, we understand that y'all like this show. We just can't stand it. But I wish it was more dark, like Heavenly Delusion. I know. I wish it was darker, brother. But I like what it is as far as the show. When I watch it again,
there's some more permanence to it is what you're looking for, right?
More permanence. That's the perfect way of putting it. More permanence. A lot more like of the. You remember the mushroom episode? Y'all remember the mushroom episode?
I literally was thinking that too.
The mushroom episode. I think if it was more of that, then I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. But I loved it. I still loved it the same. I would never watch it again. I would never go back and turn this on and be like, oh, let me watch Train to the End of the World. But I really did find it to be a good show. It has, on Anilist, it has a 73, and I think that's right.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, that's part of the continuity, though, is that darkness could have, I feel like it was still there, because I'm thinking about like the manga or writers, right? And when they had their moment, I wish that like that had stuck a little bit more. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like what they transformed them into would have stuck, and it would just been like, okay, well, for the next 2 episodes, you're like this until there's a resolution. But yeah, I think that kind of thing could have played into it being slightly more dark. But you know, here we are. And like I said, I enjoyed all of it too. Mm-hmm. It's just, I feel like it's a goofy wild ride that you just kind of go for. Yeah. And that's what that, if you're not expecting nothing, you're going to be like, what's this? What is going on here? from the first 10 seconds, more or less. So.
Crystal says, I liked it more than I thought. Some aspects were wild. Very, very wild. Yeah. Mazer says, I joined at a rough time. I haven't seen this one either. Watched 14 shows this season and missed some bangers from what I heard. Yeah, we might have to take a look at your list and see what you missed. And Krista says, I'm gonna have to binge it first. Elden Ring had me in a chokehold. Yeah, Elden Ring has a lot of people.
Does it have everybody else?
Yeah, it has a lot of people in a chokehold. I beat Melania on my second try, by the way. Y'all were right. Y'all were right, Christian and T Money Fingers. I know you'll hear this later, but y'all are right. Elden Ring is way easier than Sekiro. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking in Discord, but that's a different conversation for another day.
You just be talking sometimes.
Yeah, because I felt like getting the different endings is what made it harder, in my personal opinion. And then I was stuck on a fire giant for like 2.5 years, so I was irritated. So that's probably why I said it. Let's start. Chilling in another world with my level 2 cheat powers. Let me get the title right. Excuse me. chilling in another world with my level 2 super cheap powers. Hey, I got that right almost on the first try. This, don't judge me, but this is one of my favorite shows. I fucking love this show too much. Too much that it's kind of embarrassing how much I like it. No, it's not. You know what? I'm proud of it. This is one of the Polo and Tail ass anime that I can and will recommend to everybody. I think this is an isekai done right. I think this is an isekai with characters I love. This is one of my favorite shows, intro too, because it has the main female lead singing the intro. I think that shit is just so dope. I listened to it every time it came on and I was fucking dancing and shit. But I did enjoy chilling in another world with my super cheap powers. Now, listen, I know the isekais are played out. And I know we talk about them constantly because that's like our genre on this podcast. But this one is super fucking special in my opinion because of its, you got somebody who's overpowered that doesn't really want to fight. And that alone is enough to make it unique enough to where I can recommend and will recommend it to everybody.
My question is I thought some people came here because they like isekai too. We don't talk about isekai too much. That's what we do here. Yeah. It's a great show.
I said that mostly for TCB. I know he hates the isekai genre.
And I think I do still have 2 episodes of that to finish, if I'm being completely fair. Yeah, I didn't complete it yet.
That's crazy. I'm blown back.
But it was because I opted for Newgate more, and I know
what does that mean? You watched 23 shows in a season before, Tell 30. What was it? 36 or some shit like that.
I don't care.
What is so hard about adding this one?
I was in classes.
Well, you always got sorry, this is a TCB comment. TCB
I
said
do, but I'm not watching it. Hold on.
TCB said I never hated isekai, but you do. You talk about it all the time. Every time you see an isekai, you're like, nah, I'm good. Maybe you don't, but you always say you don't. You ain't fucking with it. But yeah, sorry. Pregnant pause.
Impregnated pause.
Speaking of impregnated, chilling in another world. Never mind. Slight spoilers.
No. Man. All right, let me see. Do we finish anything else this season? Go Loser Ranger. Polo did not watch Go Loser Ranger.
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
What you think?
It's cool. it's I'm not gonna say it's predictable from the beginning, but I feel like as soon as you get to like episode 9, you kind of see where the last episode is gonna take you, where our main character's kind of goal and orientation lies. So yeah, I feel like it's a predictable show, but it's very shonen. What do they call it? Is it Sentai? Is that what it's called? Super Sentai? The Sentai-ness doesn't, I feel like it doesn't play a super big role. I do think that it's going to get better from here, but I don't think it's going to be a Polo ass anime. Polo ain't watching this. Yeah. So if I'm being real, if you want the action, I hope that the action gets more it gets a little bit more action centered. But I also feel like the characters are going to be the mainstay in this show in a sense. But some of them are not enjoyable.
I watched 5 episodes of it, and it goes back to what we talked about prior, right? It's the pacing of the show. It's so weird, man. It has the potential to be great. And I think when season 2 is all said and done, I think it will be great. Mm-hmm. But I can't care because the pacing was all fucked up this first season. I can't care. And the characters, I didn't really like any of them. Like there was nobody who I can gravitate towards and root for and care about. And again, and this goes to what I say. If I don't fuck with your characters, I don't fuck with your show. So this one is the one where I'm like, whatever. It's probably going to be good, and I would never take that away from anybody watching it. I believe it will be good, in my personal opinion, with my personal taste. But I don't have the patience to care. I got too much going on.
So I know we gush about these two specifically often, but Seventh Prince and Aristocrat.
Let's talk about Seventh Prince first, shall we?
Let's do it.
Seventh Prince was our archivist joint. He's very well versed on this show, and that's Christian for those of you that don't know who the archivist is. But he's been trying to sell it to literally everybody that this is to read it, pick up the manga. I'm gonna say this. What a great fucking isekai. Well, not even recent. It's not even isekai. It's a reincarnated show. Like reincarnation and isekai is very different. So I want to make sure I separate the two. But this is one of the best reincarnated shows I've watched. Yeah. Point. Period. Point blank. Like beautiful animation, great story. Again, great cast of characters. I will say. Yes. And Christian won't like this, but I don't need more, but I'm glad we're probably going to get more, that we are getting more, I should say.
Yeah. And the only reason I would say I want more is specifically for the fact of like, while I know the story is centered around our main character, just showing how OP he is, his OPness in Polo's words.
Hey,
I would like more story orientation, so to speak, right? And by story orientation, I mean I want a fully fleshed out story that doesn't come in at the last like quarter of the show.
Yeah.
Where it's centered around characters that we kind of just are now meeting. Even though I think they were spoken up before that.
Very briefly.
The show to me was amazing. Like I really enjoyed this show. I did not care what anybody had anything to say about the show. To me, it was on point, bro.
Yeah, I don't even know what anybody else was saying. If it was bad, it was ridiculous because this show is fantastic.
He was built like a woman with them little shorts.
You're not looking at this character in an attractive way anyway. Why would you even give a fuck? Like it just, I'm not even going to get into that, but I will say that it's truly great, but everything you said is spot on. The fact that it had an overarching story at the last third of the show is the problem. Like the last 3 episodes when it finally got an overall story, because I understand it was taking its time to build up the Seventh Prince and who he was and what he was after and why and how powerful he is and why he became so powerful and blah 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 blah. But I want more of that. What we got at the end, more poignant story, more hard concrete. And I'm not going to spoil anything, so don't worry. More concrete, overarching story within the show entirely, like a bad guy or some type of beef.
Yeah, an antithesis to our character. That's the main thing. But I think it ended solid, and I don't necessarily think I need more, but I would love a season 2 just to give us more a story beat, a context to keep it going. But Aristocrat,
hold on, slow down.
My bad.
All right, so let's get into the chat real quick. TK does nothing. We're gonna talk about that one a little bit later. TK, Crystal, we're probably gonna go to that. We should probably swing to that next. But she says, "And Archdemon Dilemma and How to Love is bro was cute. Very much true. Very much true. I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit here.
We both.
I want to see what. Okay. TK does nothing. Says I'm waiting for the dub of Seven Prince to binge it. How is the dub? How does the dub sound? If so, you're in for a treat, TK. You're gonna enjoy it. I think you're gonna love it, bro. For real. Yeah. he turned a demon into a pet pink. Amazing. It's funny. And then Christian says the last episode was not good in selling it to y'all. I even don't like it. I will say the story is kind of snowballs without a lengthy pause. So the story is similar to learning the world from his perspective. He didn't know until then, and we learned a bit more with them. They do learn from their mistakes too in the next arc. So apparently, I think the lack of pauses. The lack of pauses was due to the anime ending bad. The pacing should have been like Naruto, in my opinion. Yeah, but if it was like Naruto, in your opinion, I mean, if it was like Naruto, it wouldn't have looked as good. And that's
true, because it did look amazing.
I think the look of the show accentuates the pause early his OP-ness. You know what I'm saying? Like the way it's animated, man. It's one of the most beautifully animated shows I've seen in a long time, and uniquely beautiful. Like it has its own style, its own flair, its own
color choices, everything.
Its own art that's just it's bright and beautiful. I love it.
And the women characters, like was said before, who said the women characters? Either way, whoever said about the women characters there, women or Jacob, the women characters are phenomenal.
That's Mazer. So
Mazer, my bad, bro.
That's okay. Yeah, let's go to the Archdemon real quick because I don't want to skip that one before we go into Aristocrat. What was, because I know it had a long title. Let me make sure I get it right.
The Archdemon and how to care for his elf wife.
Something like that. We'll find it. What did you think of it, Tel? Wait, did you even finish it?
Yeah, I finished it. My thing is with this, right? I feel like it was a very Polo and Tel ass anime. I'm more surprised though, other than I guess the relationship stuff. I feel like I did not think you would like it. And to me, it just felt like maybe it was a little bit too slow paced for Polo. But I'm thinking about it now as I'm talking. I'm like, no, Polo don't mind a little bit of a slow pace. I enjoyed it. I did not think you were going to enjoy this one. And it makes me feel like I don't know what I'm talking about when I say Polo might like something. I didn't think you would enjoy this one like that. But I thought it was great. I thought even like just how strong he was in general to even just like not realize the problems of the world. And then we come across the knight who also is just too strong to like care about anything else, but he's really just a really good guy, but scares everybody because he's too strong. And that's like all of a sudden he becomes a servant. And I don't want to say too much, but it's a great. I thought it was very enjoyable to turn on and just relax too. Like this is another one that I turn on and it's just enjoyable.
Shout out to my guy Malik. He says it does have great animation, but I do feel like the pacing is off. He's referring to Seventh Prince. Malik, what's up, dude? I'm gonna be honest with you. And the Archdemon Dilemma was way better than it had any right to be, and it's mostly because it was more closer to the slice of life than it was of anything else than the rest of it. Like it's a very sweet story that I find myself rooting for the main character, right? Because he's likable. His situation is understandable because he grew up from, it's not spoilers, but from nothing to something essentially. Yeah. And with the way they treat their kind in this particular world, it's a great story. It's a great story and it didn't need an over explanation of the world itself, right? And that's why I think it respected my time in that way, and that's why I loved it, because you didn't need to explain exactly what is going on. It just sort of let it occur naturally and let it populate the story in a natural way that felt warranted, right? Like it was one of the cuter shows this season for sure. Like Crystal said, one of my favorites too.
And that found family aspect that TCB is talking about, to me, I didn't realize how much I enjoyed that aspect, but then you look at shows that we really, really love, like ReZero, like Jobless Reincarnation. A lot of that is the MC finding his family or his group, so to speak.
His way,
and
essentially.
Yeah. And to me, this show is essentially that, and I love that. I love it. So it was great.
Yeah, it was actually one of my favorites. Funny enough. Now to move on to probably. Okay, when we talk about top 3 shows, this is probably in that top 3, and it ain't 3. As a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world. TCB, have you seen this? If you haven't, this will be the one that I will say you have to watch.
Yeah.
Hey, one of our producers, Frozen. He says a hit. A spectacular show, like a spectacular show. It kind of references, it kind of transitions. It's kind of the perfect Polo and Tailway into from a dilemma, Archdemon Dilemmas into this, because like it truly gives you that found family aspect of it. But like I'm not, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about it as far as anything else that happens in it. Just, I think this one gives you the best cast of characters this season. Am I wrong about that?
Man.
Chat
even up until the end. Oh my goodness.
Now this
I'm not gonna spoil nothing.
No, but let me just say this. You remember when I gave y'all the definition of a thug tier, right? I cried. I fucking cried. Full blown cried during this show. I'm not gonna tell y'all when or why, but I promise to goodness I fucking cried tears. I'm like it was bad. It was so bad how much, and it was the one episode in particular. We're not gonna spoil it, chat, and anybody else. But Malik says, "Me too, Polo. Me too." TK does nothing. Says, "Absolutely." I don't even know if you're talking about the like it. It truly was honestly. I was almost there too. Like it, and it's God. It's so hard to talk about it without what it is, and it's probably because of what it was, right? Because of that importance, and it kind of what it does is it reminds me of Jobless. What happened at the end of Jobless is why probably I feel the way I felt when it came to that relationship, dude. Man, it was so gut punching, and that's how I knew this show was one of my favorites this season, because of that particular moment. And then the fact that like the main character is so likable. It's so hard to be a child and be likable.
But it's the thing is what made him so likable was his just like enduring. He was enduring. He did not want to. In the worst case scenario, he was like, "I know I'm weak. Let's change that." And to me, that's important. In the worst case scenario, he knew what he couldn't do. And even if he knew he couldn't do it, he still was willing to try. And then when he didn't know what he couldn't do, he was shown what he couldn't do. And it is just such a great explanation in the show for why he wasn't ready for something and why he was ready for something else.
Bro,
it's a great show.
And Frozen, I forgot about that. I'm about to fucking cry just thinking about that one too. that one was another one. Frozen says, "I almost cried during the episode when they recruited the strategist," and that's all we're gonna say about that. But I swear, same, like same. Malik says, "Amazing character growth." Mazer says, "We know the episode. Everybody knows the episode I'm talking about." Wait, Crystal says, "A cry of cries was had." Yeah, it was a rough one, man. It was a rough.
Everybody dropped tears in the chat.
Yeah, it was when. I can't even talk about it no more without getting into spoilers. Someone just shut the fuck up. Please watch As Reincarnated as an Aristocrat. We already got confirmed for season 2. I believe it was Crystal that dropped it in our Discord when it happened. So shout out to you for that. Getting a season 2 of that made my life. And it's this fall, by the way.
It's so deserving of it.
Yeah. Let me see. Is it this? I think it is this fall, right? Yeah, it's this fall. Oh.
But that's the thing, Frozen. He is OP. He's so OP.
It's the best, OP. And it's the best kind of most unique OP there is. Funny enough. Let's dog. I'm just thinking about it. I just can't fucking wait until we get more of it. Let's go into one that I've watched. I'm on the last episode. The last episode isn't dubbed yet, but I gave it a chance again. And y'all know I talked about this before when I caught up. But Konosuba season 3.
Yeah.
You know.
How you feeling?
I don't like it.
What does that mean?
Konosuba season 3 is more of the same. It's not for me, man. Again, very rarely. I think maybe 3 episodes I laughed out loud, and that's what this show is supposed to be about. It's a whole lot of nothing. Konosuba is a whole lot of nothing. But there are moments like, I'm gonna give you an example of times that I laugh. The pieces I find funny is when the character is talking and it seems like a pseudo serious conversation, and somebody says, "This is main character Kazuma's name," and he just be like in the background, like, and the dub is the best way to watch, and dub is the only way to watch this show, by the way, because it's the only way you will find a way to laugh. But when the character's talking and they having like a monologue or something like that, and they say Kazuma's name, he just be in the background, and the sound quality, like these headphones are, my whole sound setup is fantastic. So when somebody says his name, he be in the background, like it sounds like he behind me 27 feet, like that's my name, and he say dumb shit like that, like I'm Kazuma, or yeah, I'm Kazuma, or like just stupid shit like that is what I laugh at. Everything else is, Frozen said it the best. The most forgettable show is fucking forgettable. It's exactly right. Like it's, I still got one more episode to go, but it's not going to change how I feel about it. It's very forgettable. There's not even anything to be happy about or excited about. Oh,
the issue is I'm pretty sure I watched season 1 of Konosuba.
You don't remember it.
And I think I might have watched it like last year or something, man.
Yeah,
because I think somebody was telling me to watch it. Oh my goodness.
it's something, man. It's something.
I did watch it last year. I watched it last year.
Laser says in some ways, this is for. Oh, tell you like this show, but this goes back to reincarnated as an aristocrat. He says in some ways it reminded him of reincarnated as a sword. In that sense, you rooted for him, and you the same way I rooted for the main girl in Sword. Malik, yeah, it's just bad, bro. It's just bad.
Reincarnated Sword I thought was actually pretty interesting. I know Polo didn't like it, but there were even some of the fights were good.
Yeah. Christian says that means I'm gonna like it a lot. Kind of forgot that Konosuba was out. All for What Matt says this season was hidden for the first 2 seasons were for whatever reason. Even the first two seasons, I remember the giant mech thing that they blew up was at season 1, I think. And season 2, I couldn't even tell you what the fuck that was about, to be honest. The one-liners makes it funny for you. Yeah, the same for me. The one-liners was the best part.
The difference with comparing it to Tsukimichi though is that,
oh my gosh, no, you can't do that.
Tsukimichi's first season I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I think that it was actually kind of interesting how it leads to season 2. And in season 2, although there was funny moments, I felt like it was way more serious. But I mean, I don't know. Season 2 was great to me too. So
yeah, true. All right, let's start to get to some of these ones that we just absolutely fucking love. All right, and I'm going to start with one that's not done yet. Obviously, it's still continuing. It has a total of 20 episodes, and that's Yatagarasu. Frozen, this one's for you, brother.
I think Yatagarasu had a phenomenal episode this week.
It could have been episode of the week as well. That's why I was saying this was Heat Week. This was literally Heat Week. Like
Yatagarasu, this episode. So, and I know we've talked about this before. I ain't know what to expect, bro. Man. And I felt like I knew. I thought he was gonna make a choice. I thought the choice was made. I thought at the end of the last episode the choice was made, but it wasn't.
So tell you remember you go back about 4 or 5 episodes of the podcast. I said it seemed like it's going to go a predictable route. That was what I was predicting, but I wasn't predicting what happened with that prediction. So it subverted my prediction. Is essentially what I'm trying to say, because what I predicted was right essentially with the whole courting of the girls. I'm just going to say that it played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out. But the twist that happened with said playing out was completely different and unexpected and unsurprised, like very surprising. It fucking blew me back, bro. I went back to I'm in Austin, Texas right now. It blew me back to fucking Houston. I was so blown back. I'm like, God damn, bro. This show has the best writing since Frieren.
Yeah, it's crazy because of how the things are just lining up, even like with the relationships, because we got our character who's like don't
go into any details.
He's like conflicted with how people view him.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get all these details revealed, bro. This feels almost like like, how are you a detective? You a detective? You a prince? You a Kinu? What else are you? What else are you? The show, and I feel like they gave a little teaser in this episode as to how this may end in the end. But I feel like they play us. They play us every time, bro. We don't know what to expect.
Remember when I mentioned top 3 episodes this season? The top 3 shows this season. This is in the top 3. Like, listen, like, now it's not okay. Let me step back because I compared it to Free Run. I'm not gonna say the characters are as good as Free Run, right? Amazing. But the writing, bro, it's unbelievable how unpredictable the show is and goes in ways that, like, Frozen says, it was about 4 twists in the last 3 episodes.
It was.
It totally was,
like
man.
5 of them things, and 4 of them was in one episode.
Bro, I couldn't like everything I thought was gonna happen, like with the whole pick of the. I'm like, obviously he's gonna, but then it's like,
they set it up this way.
It's like my reaction is just like this. So for those of you listen to the podcast version, I'm sorry, but you go to the video. I was like, what? Like I was in. Oh my God, I just wanted. You can't talk about it without spoiling it. So like just the reactions of one of the characters when it was basically essentially found out was so unexpected. I'm like, I had no fucking idea that's who this person was.
It's a whole show full of demons, basically. You don't know who. You don't know who.
Straight up, man. Straight up. Just absolutely full of demons. And it's like, what the And now with the next episode preview, we're like, yo, what the fuck kind of arc are we going into next? It seems interesting, like crazy.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about the plot twist from like 4 episodes ago when we found out that who was on his side. I'm still like, what?
Yeah.
Still like, hold up, because what's next? And it's crazy because they haven't dropped the ball.
Wait, sorry. I'm gonna go into the chat real quick. TK says Yadagaratu took its time, but man, it did escalate. Maybe I can see how some people would feel like it started off a little bit slower, but just that. And this is gonna go into what I'm gonna talk about soon here, but I love the political conversation. Like for some reason, like the hate that Reincarnated as a Slime season 3 is getting. Never understand it. It's fucking fantastic. It did
more of the political conversation in season 2.
I love when it dances around the political pieces and the chess pieces and how it moves. Like I love that shit so much. So the way it started, I absolutely love Yadagaratu. From episode 1, I was sold. When Tell told me like you should watch this, I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking watching it, and I never looked back from episode 1. Crystal says Yadagaratu episode had me on the edge of my seat for the last couple of episodes. Major says, I don't know how I stand against Demon Slayer, Windbreaker, Jobless week. Time to work on. Major, you have to watch this. You have to watch this 100%. I was not expecting any of the political stuff with Yadagaratu. I'm only on episode 3 and it's got me. Please catch up. Y'all gotta. If you have to put aside other shit for Yadagaratu, please, I promise you won't be disappointed.
I agree.
It still has like 7 episodes left. Facts, TK. I got to bounce, got to work in anime. Much love, y'all. Christian the Archivist, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you. Slime is such a good season. That episode was great. That's a fact. Who the hell was hating on Reincarnated as a Slime? I'm seeing a lot of conversations about Reincarnated as Slime being a yap. Reincarnated as a yap is what they called it, and then some of the forums I've been in. But I guess that's. But
I'm gonna tell you what that is. People find a new word and they don't know how to stop using it. It's just like mid. That's the show. You spitting has always been about conversation. The first season had a lot of action in it because they didn't have a choice but to fight. Yep. Now, dude is a demon lord. He can make a decision if he want to fight or not. Mm-hmm. He got power like that. It's a much bigger. The character is supposed to be. He's supposed to be a much more large picture person, even in comparison to the humans he's working with or working against. Mm-hmm. He's seeing a bigger picture and trying to build towards that. I don't understand. This is what the show's about. It's good.
And you better believe the shit is coming. Like it's going to get to what y'all want. Trust me. And you know who else mentioned it? He didn't really mention it per se. So forgive me. I know Neb ain't gonna be listening to this, but Neb mentioned like he's not feeling it as much as he was at the beginning, and it's because Neb enjoys the hands. Okay, he's more of the hands guy opposed to the political maneuvering aspect of it. But when I say this is fucking season 3 has been all I've ever wanted plus more, especially with the most recent last 2 episodes. I'm like, yo, this shit about to get crazy. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
And give me exposition dumps. I'm cool with that,
Frozen,
especially if it's pertinent to the development of the show.
Frozen, that's exactly why you belong here, because that's how we are. We love exposition so much. Like exposition is like literally the best part of anime for me, in my personal opinion. Like
I would have made Ninja Kamui bearable.
Probably would. Yes. Ninja Kamui's writing was so bad that it was embarrassing. Like I had secondhand embarrassment from watching it. I'm like, yo, who the fuck wrote this shit? I was blown back about how bad that was. Truly, and that's probably why I hate. Sorry, Mazer, but it's probably why I hate Black Clover too, because the writing's so fucking bad. But I digress. I'm just gonna touch on this quickly. Spice and Wolf, from somebody who watched the original, love it. Now tell, from somebody who watched it as a brand new watcher, what do you think?
So it's I haven't watched it in about 5 episodes.
Oh, damn.
It's okay. I'm not gonna say I love it. It's okay. I'm sorry. I can't say it's not
okay.
It's not, it hasn't sunk its teeth into me. I thought it would earlier on when I was really enjoying it, but it got to a point to where it was just like I'd rather watch other things, like I said, Newgate I enjoyed Newgate too much. I didn't want to watch Spice and Wolf.
I'm not even going to talk about what you just said, but anyway, Spice and Wolf over Newgate over Spice and Wolf is crazy.
Yeah,
it's blasphemy. But I ain't gonna judge. I'm leaving the judging to Judy. That's crazy. A show that I didn't finish that I kind of fell off on about episode 8 was Mysterious Disappearances. Anybody else watching Mysterious Disappearances still, or is done with it? Malik says Reincarnated is in this chapters where a lot of political issues go down, but next season, the season after, is gonna it goes down. Oh yeah, after he gets wild with the fights and war sequences, absolutely.
If you're talking about the manga of Mysterious Disappearances is better, I could agree with that.
Who said that?
Because TCB, I'm not sure if that's what he's saying.
Oh, he said I finished it. Yeah, he's talking about Mysterious Disappearances. No, dropped it. A lot of people dropped it. Yeah, I'm on episode 8. I couldn't. It's not. Is it bad? No, it's not bad. But I just don't. I don't. It's one of those situations where I can't give a fuck. Like how you feel about one of my favorite shows, Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again.
Oh my god.
Crystal, did you have a thug tier? I kind of had a thug tier at the end. How did you feel? I enjoyed Grandma and Grandpa Turn Young Again. It was quite a few sleepers. Quite a few people that picked Grandma and Grandpa Turn Young Again as a sleeper, I should say.
And when I say, it's not that I don't like Grandma and Grandpa. I think since it's done, I'm gonna binge it and I'm probably gonna love it. But I think that it was just too hard for me to watch because I feel like it wasn't funny a lot of times to me.
I don't think it was meant to be funny. I think it was just cute and, like Crystal said, simple and wholesome.
Yeah. It's just so hard because it wasn't. I don't know, man. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe I'm going through too much with a grandma right now, so I can't enjoy the show.
Yeah, it honestly, it was one of the sweetest things I've watched, especially the way it wrapped. Another beautiful one and done for me. I put it on the same level as Bartender. A beautiful one and done series that is such a concise and sweet tale that I think is worth watching. I really, really do think it's just really good. Yeah, I mean, it was telegraphed in like episode 7, so essentially we kind of knew what was coming, but it still turned out to be beautiful.
I'm gonna finish it.
I think you should. I think you'll find it very nice.
If I cry, I'm fighting all y'all.
I think you will, unfortunately.
I know. I know. Because you know how I am.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to what else we got here. I know we're missing quite a bit.
We didn't really talk about Jobs Reincarnation, but we know.
Yes. Okay. Let's go. Let's start to go to those now. Starting off with My Hero though. My Hero season 7. So you're not watching it, obviously.
I watched it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What do you think about My Hero? You watching the season or you just watched an episode?
Well, I've been watching the episodes because I know you're watching it. So.
Oh, awesome. That makes me feel better. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking so far?
I feel like they're doing too much of the flashback stuff in between.
Yeah.
It does not make me. I just don't think they did that in the manga. I don't recall that. So it makes it a little bit harder to watch, but man, does it look good. I think it looks good.
I would never take away how it looks. It looks fantastic.
So like
and sound. Oh my god, the sound.
Yeah, it sounds good too. And you know how a lot of anime, when they do the super flashy animation, the screen gets a bit darker to try and lessen the blow of it. They don't do as much of the darkening as some other anime do. So I like the contrast they're giving us in that even. But yeah, bro, I feel like I hate it because I feel like I know my imagination is way more vast than what My Hero Academia is presenting. So I hate to say, I feel like I'm a little disappointed because it was cool.
It was bigger in your head when you read it.
It was so much bigger in my head, yeah. But the moment was still there. The fighting with Endeavor and the big bad. It's cool.
It's fine.
All for One, yeah. Endeavor and All for One fighting and Hawks. I love it, but it's like I know where it's going. So I'm just, like I said, I don't want to talk about it too much because I already know.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you got to say because I want to feed off of that.
Yeah, so, My Hero, it's a love-hate. I love the first, 4 seasons? Hate it. No, her first 3 seasons, I absolutely love My Hero. My Hero was at its peak for me for the first 3 seasons. Shout out to our producer across the pond over there, Rob Stone. He's going to hear this later. But, I'm going to be real with you. My Hero is what also, like Rob, brought me back into anime, to be honest. There was a time in my life where I'm not going to say too cool, but I was busy, right? I had a photography studio. I had, all kinds of shit going on in my life that was kind of interrupting my anime watching, right? There was a time in 2008 or so that I always talk about, drink Clannad and shit like that, where I was deep in anime. Then I took a break because I was party promoting photography and fucking, I was outside, you know what I'm saying? I was outside. So I didn't watch anything. And then My Hero dropped and I'm like, yo, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen, the first season. And then as it slowly got on, I picked back up on anime again and I started watching more and more shit. And My Hero became less and less prominent in my life until season 3 happened. And I'm like, well, up until season 3. And then when season 4 happened, I think it was season 4. It was the shittiest season of any anime I think I've ever watched. And then 5 happened and 5 was okay for 40% of it, which makes it a bad season for me.
Yeah.
And then 6 was fucking epic, and I absolutely love everything about season 6. And then season 7, I'm back down to middling. So I can do without or do with. I could do without My Hero. I could not watch it and be okay, does that make sense? The feeling of My Hero, I'm just it feels like the shonen I grew to hate over times now for me personally.
I think what Mazer is saying is 100% right. Is that it's overextended and it's overstaying its welcome. That's how I feel as a manga reader. I thought so, and hear me out. This point in the manga was the first time I put the My Hero Academia manga down and just stopped reading it. I stopped reading it for 40 chapters, and then I let that build up, and I started reading it again, and then. Just recently, about 2 weeks ago, I put the My Hero Academia manga back down. I was like, I'm just gonna let it finish. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, like whenever they took like right after they took a break, I read that chapter and kept it going. It definitely feels like it's overstayed its welcome, and that's what's killing me about it, because I hate to say it, I almost feel like this should be the last season.
Yes.
What we're in right now should be the last season, but we have at least one more. And that movie, maybe two more movies, who knows, but it has definitely overstayed its welcome at this point, and it's taking away from all this like anticipation that was built up. And I'm saying this as a manga reader, it's still here too long.
Yeah, I got 7 seasons of this shit. It could have been like the one we're going to talk about probably after this, and been way better. Like way better. Like it's just so much like small ancillary bullshit that I can't care about. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Toya, I couldn't give a fuck about Dabi at all. I can't give a fuck about the vampire bitch. Himiko Toga. I couldn't care about Toga. I don't care about nobody except for Class A. Like, really, All For One, I think is a great villain. Shigaraki stinks in my opinion as like a villain with, and when I say bad villain, I mean like motivations and reasoning behind stuff. Like All For One's is way more. I gel way more with that than I do with Dabi's or Shigaraki's. Like their shit is just garbage to me. Well, maybe Toya. No, I don't. No, fuck that. No, I don't care about Toya's. But All For One's I care about more than everybody else's. I don't give a fuck
All
about
For One.
I do. Yeah, I do.
All For One out here being a demon because he can.
Not just because he can.
I know, not just because he's. I know there's more reason to it, right?
Way more reason than Shigaraki's.
Order and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's like he a demon because he know he can be a demon.
Dabi's was terrible. Like there's nothing great about Dabi's either. Like but he's. I think
Dabi is abused.
I mean, but like, like, okay, whatever.
I mean, we know from real life that causes school shooters. So I mean,
I guess that's okay. I wish I had my censor button ready for that one.
My bad.
Sorry, YouTube.
Sorry. Oops.
But it's kind of like whatever. Everybody else is pretty cool. Malik says season 4 was the internship stuff. I think it was. It's so forgettable that I don't even remember.
And then it was also what I think Overhaul, and I know you hated that because I think also they were just interweaving all that backstory in between, and that shit was tremendously garbage.
Yeah, it was real bad. Let me go over what Major says. He says, "Oh yeah, that's what you were talking about. We're getting close to the end of My Hero." And I'm perfectly fine with that. It's almost getting to the point where it's being overextended. Yeah, that's what you mentioned about what Major said. Yeah, it is. It's overstaying is welcome. I mentioned this on Twitter. Rob J tweeted me like overstay because he loves My Hero. Yeah, and I just put, yeah, absolutely. It's overstaying is welcome. This shit could have been done in 4 seasons, I think, personally. It could have been done in 4 seasons, 12 episodes each. And I stand by that.
Easy.
I stand by that. Damn, worse than the Alfheim in SAO when I talk about season 4 of My Hero. Yeah, so... Oh my, we about to get controversial again because Mazer, you are a motherfucker. Yes, SAO, all of SAO in its entirety is good. If you're talking about individual seasons, Alfheim is bad, but if you think about what it accumulates in for the later seasons, it was all worth it, in my opinion, in our opinion.
And as a manga reader, I stand on what Polo just said, because I still feel like My Hero is in a very bad spot at the moment. And I hate to say that. It's just, it has become one of those shows that I am genuinely not enjoying, or even the manga, I'm just genuinely not enjoying watching it, other than the fact that I'm getting to see fights. Which the show wasn't always that for me. Hear me out. I love Power of Friendship. I feel like it's the power of friendship can't save this show. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible, because I know people are gonna love the show, but Power of Friendship can't save this show. I think it's going downhill.
Okay, let's get to these last few. We are running long in the tooth here.
Jobless reincarnation.
I was going to go to Kaiju number 8 first.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Save the best for last, essentially. Kaiju number 8. We talked about it a lot, but I love Kaiju number 8. Absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
I even could say I love all of it. For funny enough, but I will say the pacing is fucked up. It's fucked up. If you look at our review scale, the pacing is like a 6. It's fucked up because when you get his kaiju powers on episode 1 or 2, whichever one it is, he gets his kaiju powers and he doesn't do shit with it for 9 episodes. Now I get it. They're trying to develop the side characters. They're trying to develop the fact that he's doing this all on his own without the kaiju powers in order for him to develop his capability for what happened at the end of it, right? Like to say that he's been here, like they did all that to say that, right? I get it, but that could have all been pushed up by like 6 episodes. Yeah. If that was pushed up 6 episodes and we got to where we are now at episode 6 and it continued on and it stopped at a more decent point, I think it would have been even better. I will say this though. Now that Kaiju number 8 really fucking started, I can't fucking wait. Like I'm just as excited for this as I am Hell's Paradise 2 or whatever. Like it's so good now. Well, again, I'm not gonna say it's so good now like it wasn't good then, because it was good all the way through. I will say it's good all the way through. But that pacing fucked me up so bad that I think this is going to, like, now that it started, it's going to nothing but up even more.
So I feel like I have to retract my former opinions of Kaiju number 8 with being similar to what you were saying, right? The pacing, I definitely agreed that I definitely hated it. But this episode, it made me feel what Steins Gate made me feel after episode 8. And I say that because
I get that.
I'm looking at the show in the context, and I'm just like, so I get that the pacing was slower. I get that I was antsy and wanting him to express himself and use his power, right? Do this. But then we get to this point where they're talking about, and slight spoilers, we're talking about all the things he did before he got here. Him not being able to make it for several years. Then even when they can assume he got the powers and he's doing it, he's still trying, and he's never used his powers for anything, right? It's kind of like it's that validation to say that this person has continued trying to be a human and is still trying to side with us, and that made me appreciate what they did more, so to speak.
And let me tell you why I shouldn't. Now you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. But the reason why I feel like it shouldn't know is because how the fuck they know? When did they know? When did they know he got eat? You know.
Well, that's why I said they assume, because you can't tell when he got the powers. He could have been this way the whole time, right?
No, they knew he got the powers because of the hospital incident, right? Because they called him Kaiju number 8 from the hospital incident. But how did he know he didn't, use it even for the small things that he did? Like it was just like I don't know. It just the pacing just felt off.
Well, it's because they know the suit only generates 0% power, right?
True, that's true.
So remember when he started using the power, the suit they were like, oh wait, that's not 1%. He was only supposed to be able to use 1%. So I'm saying that to me, it gave me a realization that like it made that moment more impactful. Now, yes, it sucks that it took 7-8 episodes of build up to get there. But I can appreciate it now.
It all makes sense now. Yeah,
I'm gonna say it wasn't as well executed as, let's say, what Steins Gate did, because Steins Gate got to this point sooner, and it was like all up from there for the next 4 episodes. You know what I mean? And then you got a whole another season coming after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that the issue that they have is that they literally let it build for this moment, and then it was like, now you got 1 episode left, and then it's like, okay. What am I doing?
I'm gonna go to chat real quick because what I want to make one thing clear. I think what's funny is that I think Malik and TK, I think Malik, TK, me and Tel, we're the minority. I think everybody feel the way you feel, TCB. TCB says I might be in the minority, but I felt like the pacing was fine. Last third of the season I feel was built up well to the last episode and set up for the next season. And you're in the majority there. I think most people felt that, and and I can appreciate what Tell was saying, because now that the way they kind of brought it all together was really, really good. It's like, it was frustrating, if that makes sense. Like, if you're binging this all the way through, if you're just watching it and binging it, it's great. Watching it week to week, it just became frustrating to see, like, yo, why the fuck wouldn't you do this? Or hearing his best friend like, don't use your powers. Like, that shit was just annoying. It just got annoying for me personally. It's a weird thing, but a great final episode. One of the best new series. I think it's up there with Hell's Paradise for me. Like, truly a special series. I think going forward is going to be great. Absolutely great. Major says it was a great final episode for the season, and it has me excited for next season in a good way. Meanwhile, Windbreaker had a great last episode, but it should not have been the last episode. That is a bar.
I mean, I don't know. I disagree with that.
I agree with it. So why do you disagree with that?
I think it was a phenomenal final episode, and I loved everything about the episode, and I even love where it ended. Yeah. And I know that's a wild thing to say, right? Yeah. But I love where it's ended because it gives us so much like prep for the next. We know that when we start the next season, it's gonna be right into it. And even, let's say for instance, even if they start the next season with not necessarily showing us exactly what happens here, they can give us some time to have let Sakura be in the position of the captain, to have developed, a little bit more in what's going to happen next. I think that for me, it prepped me with excitement. Yeah. So I'm cool with this because it didn't feel like a cliffhanger like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? It felt like a cliffhanger like, we getting right into it next season. And I'm cool with that.
And that's where I disagree, because I think it was it could have been a better cliffhanger. Now, and you might not agree with me where I'm about to say it should have ended, because it would have been a bigger like blue ball kind of situation. Because where I think it should have ended is, I think it should have ended with the crew that we see that walking out of school at the motherfucking blue boys base. Like, they should have been walking up to their base like there and ready to go. That's where I think it should have ended. Now, that would have pissed more people off. I think I would have been on the side of the minority here. But if they would have ended there, I think would have been a better place for it to end. But what Major says is, I will say from a marketing standpoint, it was genius, because I've never picked up reading the story so fast. Yeah, no, like, I was ready for them to end like right at their doorstep. I was like, when there was like face to face, I think that would have been fucked up. It would have been a blue ball kind of situation, but I would have liked that more. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's just
I can agree with that, because I think that it was, what I'm saying is, the reason it's a good ending is because they didn't jump right into the action. They let us. They left us prepped for action next season. Yeah. So I think that what you're saying ain't even far from what I believe. I think I agree with that too. That is 100% still a very valid ending.
Brilliant
to get to that
final
point.
episode.
Yeah.
It should have ended there, but brilliant final episode. And I just think it ended with a little bit further into that next story to hook you even more, if that makes sense,
For sure.
I still love the fact that they were walking out of the school and the elders like pointing out the window like, hey, where the fuck they go? That shit was dope. That shit was so dope.
Cause some problems.
It's just straight up cause some problems. And then one of the best anime episodes ever of Demon Slayer. Not just shows. Not just Demon Slayer itself, but shows in its entirety. What did you think?
Hitting your desk?
Yeah, I am. Sorry.
Yo.
What did you think about the last episode of Demon Slayer? Did I not set it as complete?
Where is Nezuko? Nah, don't tell us where Nezuko is. Bro. This was one of the, all right, let's say visually beautiful. Oh my God, beautiful. Did you see the snowflakes just melt in front of your face? I felt the warmth. I felt it. Did you hear the voices? Man, bro. Did you hear the music? And it was paced. It was paced extreme. There was nothing wrong with this episode, bro.
Like, it was the best episode of TV ever. It was.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I have no complaints.
Let me just say this. Okay. Demon Slayer is a simple story. Very simple story. Very, 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 very simple. Characters, Very simple. Typical shonen characters. But the way it's paced, everything they're doing with the characters, the fights, the animation, yes, is great. But everything they're doing with the simple story is by far some of the most special of the shonens I enjoy. And the reason I feel that way is because it's not over. I hate using the same term over and over and over, but I got to. It's the perfect term for it. It's not overstaying its welcome, and it's respecting my fucking time. Demon Slayer always respected my time in the best way possible. It doesn't oversell its story. It doesn't undersell its story. It's the perfect through line with the best character growth ever. And when I say character growth, I'm talking training. I'm talking mentally. I'm talking progression. And when I say progression, per fight, right? Like, so whenever you see Tanjiro fight a demon for the first time, it's a fucking struggle. He's getting his ass beat. And I'm talking about season 1 where you get the moment where he get the move where he chop off the spider fucking head, the spider got head or whatever that is. Right? Like from that fight to what he learned into the next fight, to what he takes into the next fight and Mugen Train, like the way he just progressed as a character itself is by far top of the line, top tier shonen growth that I absolutely love so much. Now, not only that, but he actually fucking trains. He trains in a way that's believable for a series, right? Like it's unbelievable. Like I don't believe My Hero's training working as good as it is for the kids in class A, right? Like they're training right, but I don't feel like they're getting stronger as much as I feel the Demon Slayer core getting stronger as like during fights or during the training sessions. Like I can feel them actually getting stronger. I feel like what this show is doing, and especially going into movies, is brilliant. Movie is, I think, is the best way to wrap up this entire arc by a trilogy of them. I will say this, Crystal said this earlier on Twitter. The only issue that we have with it now, Crystal mentioned this, is the release time of these movies. Like, is it going to be 2 years per movie? If it is, that's where it's a problem. If it's 1 year, perfect. It's perfect if it's 1 year.
So we have for the movie specifically, we have something that we can look at a timetable for this, right?
Okay.
Heaven's Feel 1, Heaven's Feel 2, and Heaven's Feel 3.
Okay.
Now, all of them were made by Ufotable. All of them are absolutely amazing and astonishing. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they all came out between 8 months to a year from each other.
Heaven's Feel 2 was 2 years.
Okay. And then when was Heaven's Feel 3?
From 2017 to 2019. Heaven's Feel 3 was, and they were only they were 2 hours, so they were the same length as Mugen Train. Heaven's Feel 3 was also, it was 1 year.
It was 1 year.
Okay, so 2 years for the second one.
So we do kind of have a basis to go off of that. Now, release time, I can get that. I can get why that would be a bit much, right? But if you think about it, 2 hours of a Demon Slayer movie and what we just saw.
Yes.
Think about what we just saw, and think about even with like the Mugen Train, right? Mm-hmm. Technically, that was just 1 day, but we're gonna get 3 movies, likely 2 hours apiece, if not, let's say 2.5 hours. Which, let's not overstep it. I actually think that the way that, and I'm saying this from someone who's watched Heaven's Feel 1, 2, and 3. I think that the thing that I'm least worried about, and why I'm not so worried about the movies, is because I know that the timeline and how they've done continuations in movies is extremely good. Going from Heaven's Feel 1 to Heaven's Feel 2, especially if you watch them back to back, you don't feel like you missed anything. Going from Heaven's Feel 2 to Heaven's Feel 3, even if you don't watch them back to back, but when you do, you feel like you have not missed anything. So I feel like the way that they're going to handle these movies, if they handle them the way they did Heaven's Feel, that they will feel seamless, even after you haven't seen one for a year.
I see what
and
you're
even
saying.
if you run it back, let's say you run it back after that year, I feel like this is going to be a genius way of actually doing this and making it so that it's so easily digestible. But like, let's say you get all 3, once they're all done, you sit down and watch all 3. It's like watching a season of anime. but you're getting the finale, the wrap up of this phenomenal anime. You know what I mean?
I mean, you think about it. If an episode is 23 minutes, you get 2 hours of that. Yeah, that's more than enough to wrap it up. Like people were blasting it, like, but the it's like 47 chapters. Okay, I get it. It's a lot of chapters that they're wrapping up in 3 movies, but you have to understand, these are straight fights. They're going into straight fights, 3 movies deep, 2 hours long. That's like more than enough time.
And I hate that conversation because, like, how many chapters is a Harry Potter book?
Like even still, when you think about the relevance of the manga chapters versus it just being straight fights in these next 3 movies, like it still is going to be a nice concise package by the time it's all said and done and wrapped up. That it's probably going to be the perfect box set of anime.
My God,
ever. And most of those chapters are straight action.
Like, we copping it, we buying it.
Like, come on, like
I'm buying it.
They can flesh out these chapters the manga wasn't able to. You think so in the movie form, TCB? Crystal says, I want all 3 to drop at once on the same day. I'll go to the movies for that with small breaks in between. Yeah, right. But no, that would be fantastic. But no, we know we ain't getting that. I'm okay with it, man. I think having time to let it simmer and just kind of like enjoy it, I think it's going to be perfect. I think it's just perfect. It's not overstaying its welcome. I think it ending with these 3 movies is perfect. Again, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to look great. I'm all for it. And for those of you that don't know, the reason why we got this podcast is because of Demon Slayer. Like, this is the reason why we do this now. And we've been doing it for almost 6 years. So has it? Wait, it's June. Has it been 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I think in the middle of June is when we started, or was it the beginning?
It's like June.
No, it's July. It's July 1st now. My bad.
Yeah, shit. Oof. We kind of vets at this shit. But it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's perfect. And then let's go to last but not least. Holy shit.
Jobless reincarnation.
I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. Jobless reincarnation has the best character growth ever. No, because I was chilling in my my personal Discord that I use for my gaming stream with Legal Overdose. Yeah, for those of you who's been rocking with us for a long time, he's on a couple of After Story episodes. Malik know who he is. This is my close circle of friends that I game with. Malik being one of them, Legal Overdose being another one, Ned being another one. But listen, he was watching season 1, and when he watches it, he's very animated with like his reactions and shit, and it's just been great. It's just been absolutely great to hear his reactions. But he's like, yo, this show is weird. Rudy's weird. The way he moves is weird. And I'm like, damn, I forgot all of this happened. And he's just going through everything that's happening. And I'm like, shit, I forgot all that happened. I forgot that happened. I forgot that happened. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, Rudy is so different now from where he was in just season 1. This is the 2nd season. He's so different. And not in a different kind of way, like he's just different. And he's different in a way because of the growth that happens within him coming to realization with his old self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or like all the shit that he fucked up in his old life, he's coming to he's realizing what he was and who he is and how he felt about his past parents and his now parents. And
exactly.
It's just so much of just growth within Rudy's mind that it's hard to not love this show and everything that it does.
I agree wholeheartedly, right? Because this episode reminded me of ReZero when Subaru, met his parents. I went back and, had that hallucination of his parents or dream of his parents and whatnot. It reminded me of that. And if you even look at it, right, you talk about how...
Don't go too deep because TK said he's waiting for the dub.
I'm not going to say too much, but you think about how Subaru moved different in the beginning because he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But once he got a grasp of the world, he started to move like he got accustomed to the world. And I think that what was so important about this episode was that we do realize that Rudy moved different when he was first here. But he realized in this episode that he wasn't viewing this world like it was reality for him in a sense. I don't want to go too far, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Let me put a pause in that just to say, because Mazer's about to Davey says I got to turn in, got to work in a few hours. Fantastic episode. I'll get a re-listen. Good to get the stuff I missed at the beginning / the end. Good night, everyone. Mazer, thank you so much for supporting us, and thank you so much for stopping by the live. We appreciate you. Sorry, Tel, for interrupting that, but I had to say goodbye. And the listeners listening on the podcast, sorry. I have to agree with you, man. The way it ended was perfection. I cannot wait to TK watch it. TK, when you watch it all, bro, please tweet at us. I know you're in Discord too, right in the jobless Discord forum. Let me know what you think, because I love to talk about jobless with any and everybody I can. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen within this, with what happened at the end, because it's the culmination of the last episode was bittersweet. It was bittersweet, sad, but exciting, and then sad again, exciting. A roller coaster of emotion.
That's how I felt.
Yeah. It's so hard to talk. It's so hard to talk about this and not just go into what it is, because it's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. All right, Tel. Let's quickly go into the most underrated anime. We're not going to do a break this episode because this episode is rather long. It's about 2 hours long. So let's go into, and chat, you can join in with us too. What was your most underrated anime? And this is counting winter 2024 and spring 2024. What is your most underrated anime of 2024 so far? So far. I'm going to go to what Rob J said on Twitter. He said, let me just go here. We go to, there is. Can't join the live, but my most underrated anime of 2024 is easily Bartender. Can't disagree with that. Bartender is a fantastic show. We talked about that at length. That's why we loved it so much. He's right. It's great. Very, very underrated though, sadly. I'm gonna start with winter of 2024 as far as underrated shows. And maybe it's not underrated. Maybe it's rated just right. But The Wrong Way of Using Healing Magic, I think, is one of the most underrated shows that deserves a watch from everybody. Yes, I know we talked about it during the season that this came out, this being a Polo and Tail anime, but I feel like it's one of the better shows. And it, funny enough, it has a high rating on Anilist too. It's 76% on Anilist. It's truly a special show. Wrong Way of Using Healing Magic, I think, is one of the better shows of this year so far. Easily. Did it get announced for season 2? It didn't get announced for season 2 yet, I don't think. Did it?
That's crazy. I haven't seen one yet. All right. So if I had to go with one that I would rate
from the winter,
I would have to say, are we going from the winter?
Starting there first.
Delicious in Dungeon.
Delicious in Dungeon.
Because I feel like
it's so good. It's so good.
It draws you in with a certain concept, but you don't stay for just that concept.
100%. Well said, man. Well said. I'm gonna keep singing the praises of Dangers in My Heart. Season 2 is spectacular. It's perfect. But I will have to say that 7th Time Loop, I still don't get enough love. 7th Time Loop is one of the best shoujos. Is the best shoujo I've ever seen. The switch up was nuts. TK said, I agree with Tel. The switch up was nuts on Delicious in Dungeon. I need to finish. I'm like 4 episodes behind.
I would say, right, a sign of affection.
Ooh.
And I say that because mostly as a person who slice of life is not my primary source of anime or my primary genre for anime, easily needs to be like a mainstay.
Crystal says Dr. Elise and 7th Time Loop for the winter. Perfect shows. Dr. Elise was way better than it had any right to be. Way better. I'm surprised you didn't say this one, Tell.
Which one?
The Unwanted Undead Adventurer.
So I was getting there.
Oh,
I wasn't tied to the season yet. I was just looking at overall, and it wasn't at the top of the list. But I agree. Unwanted Undead Adventurer was actually one of my favorite sleepers too.
Yeah, is your sleeper from last season. And then this season, I'm gonna go through my list. What about this season, Tell?
So this season,
Kamui Kai says.
What? What do you say? Oh, he playing with us. He play too much.
Hey.
He play way too much.
Kamui cannot be a real.
It's got to be that's that move that the Uchiha use, Kamui.
We can't judge. We're not Judy. Kamui fucking stinks. It absolutely stinks. There's a reason that I think that had the biggest fall off of Twitter history, by the way.
Oh my god, bro. 68% is way too high.
but the thing is, it started off at like an 82.
That's unfathomably high. That should never been
way
high.
too fucking high.
All right. So I feel like we know. I'm gonna go with Reincarnated Aristocrat right off the bat.
Yep. Definitely literally the most underrated anime of this year. Probably number one, if I had to choose a number one.
Yeah, that 70% like is a bunch of haters.
Oh, here's one. Kai says, in my opinion, I had a lot of fun with The Witch and the Beast. That one, when we started Witch and the Beast, it was bad for us, but to see somebody sing his praises, that means it must have got better.
Yeah, I think we did hear that though.
I think Frozen said, was it Frozen that said he finished it? Let me see. Or did he drop it? I think he might have dropped it. Let me see. See its ratings. Got a 72, so it must have got better. That first episode was rough. The teleporting in like literally the same scene that they were in, like that was pissing me off. That was the only reason why I dropped it. I don't know if the story was good or not, but the way they was teleporting, like in the same, they were having a conversation and one person ended up here and one person ended up here. It just was teleporting fucking everywhere. Like I'm like, what is happening? Crystal says Jellyfish and Aristocrat for the spring. I think I'm right there with you. Jellyfish and Aristocrat probably my two favorites as far as like new shows go, and very underrated shows. Maybe I could even put in I could even throw my hat to Chilling in Another World with my level 2 cheat power. Frozen says it got a little better. That's good to hear. TCB says personally, Salad Bowl of the Eccentrics was surprisingly good slice of life comedy. And Jellyfish was up there for me too. Is the Salad Bowl the one I watched? I think
she's like a detective.
Oh no, I didn't watch this at all. Interesting. This might get added to the list. Because this is one I completely missed. I'm added to the list, so Crystal can make fun of my watching list. All right, you got any more before we wrap up, Till?
I know neither of us is gonna watch this, but Baki Hama versus King and Ashura. I'm gonna watch it eventually. I just ain't got there yet. My last one is basically just going to be Seventh Prince. You know. Oh, also Girls Band Cry. I do think it's a good show. I just don't think it's a polo show. But I definitely think it is.
What about you and them?
I definitely think the 84% pretty accurate.
Damn, that's hot hell. All right, so I want to end with this before we go. So if you look at my list down here, Anime in Progress, if you have an Anilist account, what I do, and this is for you too, Till, make sure you set the shows that you're watching. Listen, Chris, I'm about to explain it, Crystal. Crystal says, man, the Anime in Progress is so much. This is why it's so much. The reason why it's so much is because I set new shows that are coming out soon as watching. The reason why I set it as watching is it puts it in my anime in progress section on my, sorry if you're listening to the podcast, you could just turn the podcast off because it's over. But it puts it in my anime in progress list. And then when these episodes come out, they shoot up to the airing section. If you set it as planned to watch, it won't show up in the airing list. So keep that in mind. Make sure you set the shows that you plan on watching to watching instead of planning to watch, so it can show up in your airing list so you know when these episodes come out. So that's why that my anime in progress list looks a little jumbled up, because these episodes are coming like in 3 days. Pseudo Harem is going to pop up to airing. So that's why I set it as that. I never look at my notifications, Crystals, because I always have so many. So that's exactly why I do it this way. But I say all that to say, you can follow me on Twitter and you can follow me on all social media at Polo Bornfly.
I'm at King Telly. I don't know all social media.
You can follow all our social medias at Mike Check Waifu
Y'all know where it's at.
Waifu on Twitter and at Mike Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. And as always, Mike check.
Let's go.
Goodbye.
You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?